If there's one thing I've learned over my decade of selling Toronto real estate is that there is never really a dull moment. People are passionate about real estate, specifically in this city, and put aside politics and hockey for a second, and real estate is the #1 dinner conversation. And I believe that 2023 may be the first somewhat normal real estate market we've seen in almost 4 years. And I say that because if you go back to the last few years, you look at 2020, we all know what happened then. You look at 2021, that was a year of complete craziness. And you look at 2022, we had 7 rate hikes in 12 months, and we saw prices go crazy in the first 3 months and then tail off all the way down near the end of the year. In today's video, we're gonna go over the first 2.5 months here in the city of Toronto with a specific focus on these numbers on the 416 area code. And if you'd like to know what's happening in other markets across Canada, go into the description because there's several videos launching with other great creators at this exact same time, so you can check them out below. My name is Tom Story. Welcome back to this channel. I'm going to do my best in today's video to teach you something that maybe you didn't already know. If you find value in this video, all I ask is you hit that like button and make sure to subscribe and join our growing community. You can also book an appointment directly with me in the first link in the description at a time that works for you. I thought it'd be fun, at least for the first 2.5 months of this year, to go over every single month and show you what the average sale price was, how many sales happened, and also split it up into different asset classes. Just as a reminder, as I'm going over these numbers, this is only for the 416 area of Toronto. Let's get started by looking at the entire market. So if you look at the average sale price in January, is about $980,000 with just under 1,200 transactions. Then we fast forward to February, and that number was up significantly. It was actually up over $100,000, just under 1.1 million. In March, so far, is moving in the same direction. The sale price over $1.1 million so far in March, but keep in mind, all the March numbers I'm going to go over in this video are only covering the first half of March. What we've seen from the first 2.5 months of the year, and again, keep in mind, this is very, very limited data, is that we did see a significant uptick in price, which is not something I've said in this channel in quite a while. You will see this trend continue as we focus on specific different asset classes, but I think the question we all have to ask ourselves is, well, why is this happening? I really think it comes down to 2 specific dates. January 25th, 2023, when Bank of Canada went up by 0.25%, but then said they are going to conditionally pause the rates, and March 8th, when Bank of Canada held. Both of those announcements seems to at least have given consumer confidence back to the market. Now let's get into the specific asset classes. Okay, so for detached properties in January, you had an average sale price of just over $1.5 million. Then in February, we saw a significant uptick to just over $1.7 million. For the first half of March, the numbers are very, very similar, just over $1.7 million. Something to keep in mind as we look at these detached home prices, it looks like there was a $200,000 jump there. That's not because the market magically just became that much better in that 1 month. The detached prices kind of have always been around that range in the 416 area code, but January was just a very, very low month. So these numbers do look slightly skewed. We saw a similar trend in the semi-detached housing market. Now, the semi-detached housing market is where you share one wall with your neighbor. Now, these homes have been in very, very high demand because there is significantly less of them in the city of Toronto, and they are more affordable than detached housing. So in January, we saw the average semi-detached property sell at $1.15 million. In February, we saw a jump up to $1.3 million, which is more on trend with what we typically see for the semi-detached properties in the 416 area code. The March numbers so far are holding strong from what we saw in February, just over $1.3 million. That then takes us to our final asset class we're going to discuss, which is the condo market. Now, the condo market makes up a significant portion of all the sales that happen in the 416 area code. So what happens in this market will almost dictate how the year is going to play out. In January, the average condo sale price was just over $700,000. February, we saw sale prices go up just under $40,000 to about $742,000. We also saw sales go up in February with just under 1,000 condos selling in the 416 area code. And so far in March, we've seen another $20,000 price bump on condos. they're at $760,000 halfway through the month. I think it's clear too that as we look at these numbers, it shouldn't really be that surprising because this happens in a normal year, right? Like February numbers are usually better than January and December's anyways. But it is the first time in a long time that the consumer confidence seems to be getting back to a place where like the number of sales that are happening are back to like 2019 levels, which was a pretty good market moving along, like wasn't unstable in either direction. And that is very, very encouraging to see. And I know as a real estate agent, what I'm about to say, you're like, of course you're going to say this, but we need not just more inventory to hold prices. What we need is the inventory that people actually want to buy. So let's focus in on that for a second. So there's two pockets of inventory that we actually need, that we don't have enough of, where there's a ton of demand. The first bracket is the condo market under $700,000. $500,000 to $700,000 is the pocket where the most amount of condo sales are happening. We need more good inventory in that pocket. And on the freehold side of things, the $1 million to $1.3 million segment, that is where we need more inventory. That's typically where your semi-detached homes are selling. There is still not a lot to choose from, especially in good neighborhoods in Toronto that have good school districts that people actually want to live in. So overall, our market across the board is balanced, pushing into a seller's market for some asset classes. I don't think we're going to see crazy gains for 2023 or really crazy losses. Personally, unless something changes with Bank of Canada and they significantly increase rates from here, I think you're going to see somewhat of a holding pattern this year because we still don't have enough good inventory, but demand is slowly creeping back into the market. Thank you so much for watching this video. My name is Tom Story, and remember, home is where your story begins.